Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to Unlocking the Future of Wealth Management, How to Lead the AI Revolution. I'm Patrick Noonan, Product Manager here at Advisor 360. And joining me today is Mark Coleman, our Director of Analytics and Advanced Insights. Good afternoon, Mark. Thanks for joining.
Hi, Patrick. Thanks. It's great to be here. I always appreciate the chance to talk about AI in the wealth tech industry. It's one of my favorite topics.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We've been hearing a ton about AI. Everywhere we read, basically right now, is how is AI going to actually help advisors and investors with their plans and in their practice. So it's a really exciting topic for us right now. But before we actually jump into AI, let's talk about kind of the foundation of every good AI strategy. And that's clearly the data that you're working with to build these AI models. So what kind of issues are you seeing today around, companies and the data that they're trying to manage?
Yeah, great question. And I always like to preface this by saying, we all know AI is an incredible technology. It's transformational in many respects, right? And really, it's not much of a leap to think that AI is going to reshape our entire financial landscape, frankly. But again, as you noted, before we dive into that, you have to understand the role that data plays in making all this amazing AI possible. So, I'm a data person. I have been for longer than I'd care to admit. And let's be honest, for most people, data is not that glamorous, right? But you have to realize data is the essential raw material, the atoms for building meaningful analytics and making all this great AI, right? Now, and for AI, it's even more the case because really AI makes these extraordinary demands on data, much more so than reporting and traditional kinds of analytics. So with that, it's not enough just to collect data. You really have to build a process around that. Data's got to be refined, it's curated, reconciled, enhanced, really to unlock that potential. So, if you think really bigger picture, think of the most successful technology companies of the past couple of decades, right? They've really figured out how to create and refine data and add quality to it that kind of enables this entire suite of incredible products and services. So as we like to say, great data is kind of the lifeblood of great AI. So, I like to use a lot of food analogies. So, you don't get a 5-star meal from 1-star ingredients, right? And you don't get impactful and great AI for your wealth management business from poor quality data. It's just not going to happen.
Oh yeah, I like that. And certainly, we all get how important the data is. We spend a lot of time as financial advisors collecting a lot of data from our clients and trying to aggregate this all together. And here at Advisor 360, we also have a lot of data. And so, kind of, what do we do now with the data to get it from this raw material stage to this really proactive information that we can drill from this data? So, what is kind of our sweet spot there in that space?
Sure. So I like to use the metaphor of a data supply chain, right? Think back to COVID, right? We all became painfully aware of the importance of manufacturing logistical supply chains, right? And one of the lessons we came away with was that companies with the best supply chains, those are the most resilient, most robust, right, generally serve their market better than their competitors, right? So it turns out that metaphor works really well for data. So manufacturing, if you will, high quality data works the same way. So here at A360, we have an incredible supply chain for building, delivering, industry-leading data quality. We call it our data fabric, right? So in this data fabric, we ingest raw data from hundreds of data sources every single day, and we move it through these very sophisticated, custom-built processing chains where the data is clean and reconciled, consolidated, right? And that kind of creates a high-quality, trusted output that our customers expect. Now, for someone like me who works in analytics and data science, right, I get to leverage the benefits of that great supply chain. My team and I don't have to do all of the scrubbing and all of the really hard work of reconciling because that's really done for us. So a lot of respects, we can leverage that and get things to market and sort of build better analytics more quickly. And what I also like to say is, while a lot of great AI is really stakeholder facing, under the hood, we're also using AI in our data fabric to make our processing even better.
And faster, right?
Definitely faster, yes.
Which is great. And I think, when we're looking at this point, so, we've got all this data, we've done a lot of great job cleaning it and getting it prepared, but now comes the exciting part, right? Because a lot of our advisors and their investors, they're not seeing this work we're doing behind the scenes. What they're really dying to see is how can we help them, whether it's an advisor or an investor, how can we take this data, the things we know about the industry, and how can we start giving them either good insights, or certainly helping them run their business. So let's kind of get on to that exciting part. So first, let's talk about the financial advisors. So for
Right.
financial advisors, I'm a small business owner. I'm running my own practice. I'm looking to clearly continuously grow and provide a good investor experience. How do you see us and data and AI assisting a financial advisor?
Sure. Great question, and one I love to answer. So when we think about AI at A360, we separate these things into broad themes. So we think about like the broad tasks that an advisor might has to undertake to be successful, right? There's investment decision making, their level of client service, how they manage their practice and optimize their practice operations, and then how they think about their practice growing and succeeding in the future, right? So all of those themes have very specific AI applications. So let's pick one as an example, right? So let's say, like all advisors, you care about growing and managing your practice, right? So from my perspective in data science and for AI, we think about all the data that can help with that. I can start by correlating all this data around investors' objectives and goals, their strategies and exposures, their demographics, their past interactions with their advisors, a whole bunch of data. And that gives us a way to sort of understand behavior. So as one specific example, we are thinking about how we would understand investor retention, right? If you're an advisor, right, you succeed, and there's a lot of evidence around this, by keeping your client base and keeping those customers happy, right? So really a foundation for a growing practice is investor retention. And that's the same in any business, right? So we think about ways where we can use this data to identify and predict retention, be able to identify gaps and opportunities in their clients' wealth management strategies, and the kinds of things we can do to fill those gaps. So think about it this way. This kind of creates the door for building this more detailed and personalized data-driven relationship management capabilities. That really deeply personalized things, recommendation systems and next best actions, all to improve client engagement. Really, it's kind of the next generation of analytics, that are personalized very, very deeply around individual investors and their households. And we can do that in part because our data is so comprehensive and really in such high quality. So that's kind of one broad thing. But the other theme we touched upon earlier is that there's also AI under the hood. Right. So in the platform itself, how do we build more intelligent automated workflows, for example, right? So the other part of an investor's job, obviously, is that kind of more administrative stuff that has to happen as you're opening accounts and servicing accounts and reporting to your customers. So we can use AI to kind of reduce that burden, and that frees up more time for those directly customer-facing activities that allow investors to build better relationships with their clients and kind of push long-term success. That's much harder.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. I think when we think about it, right, advisors want to run a very efficient practice and also keep their client experience to be really strong, or actually make it better as they grow and as they scale. And so when you think about AI and some of these tools that we can create, certainly making the advisor's life a lot more efficient, allowing to automate workflows, to provide them suggestions for their clients of things that they should be thinking of, all of these ways to help them run a better business faster, create a better client experience, and of course, help grow their business in the end without having to hire more people in their office. And kind of to segue from that, then, what do you see from the investor's perspective now that AI is and all this data, we're looking at their situation, comparing their situation to other people just like them in the country. How do you see AI enhancing their wealth management experience?
Sure. So the way, one of our big themes here is around how do we leverage AI to be able to help investors understand the factors that impact their long-term financial well-being, their planning, right? So there are lots of ways we could do this, right? How do we build better tools that give better transparency into the performance and risk of their portfolio? Let's take an example, right? If I'm an investor, I am faced with an enormous volume of events across politics, economics, financial markets and pricing, regulation, then my own personal family situation that all impact my financial objectives and strategy and create, risk and opportunities, right? So let's think about if I'm an investor, how do I understand what the rest of my portfolio, let's say there's a slump in the tech sector again, like we had in 2022, or another large rise in interest rates. or there's an unexpected change in market news, or there's a global conflict someplace which causes turmoil in financial markets. Right? All of those factors are hitting us every single day, and all of them create churn and uncertainty for investors. Right? So we think about how we can use AI to transition investors from not just looking at past data kind of plainly, but also how do we build a more personalized experience that kind of lets them understand that gee, when interest rates do this, the impact of my portfolio looks like this, and as a result I can work with my advisor to kind of plan around those risks and build a more robust investment strategy going forward. Right? So that's one possibility for us.
Oh yeah, very exciting. I also think from an investor's perspective, when you're looking at how you mentioned earlier the next best action, but sometimes from an investor's perspective, it's really what am I not thinking of, right? I think I've got everything under control. I think I'm saving correctly, but are there factors that I'm not thinking of? And that's what they usually rely financial advisors on. But certainly we can look at the data and help them come to those decisions. And like you said, educate them on some of the decisions they've already made, like their risk tolerance and their asset allocation, and also bring to them things that they haven't really thought of.
Exactly.
So as we kind of come to a close here today, as we look towards the future and next year, is there one thing you'd like to call out that you're really excited about that we can use these AI tools for coming in the future?
Oh, absolutely. So I get most excited personally. Again, I've been in this field for longer than I care to admit. But really the excitement is around what are the new capabilities we could develop that we really don't have quite yet, but we kind of see in the future. So, AI, for example, today's AI at the scale it operates is really good at processing massive amounts of information. So imagine scooping that data up automatically, real-time financial prices, economic news and market sentiment, changes in government policy and regulation, world events. Imagine the AI taking that massive stream in and being able to sort of learn from that continuously, because it's a dynamic world and your portfolio has to adjust, right? That's one of the benefits of working with a really strong advisor. And so we think about how we can use AI to kind of turn this fire hose of information, of raw data, into something that's more curated and meaningful. So imagine being in our platform and seeing this stream of information coming in and making recommendations almost in real time about adjustments to your portfolio based upon what's happening in the world, in financial markets, maybe your personal circumstances, all of that, kind of the next generation of financial planning. So an advisor is not starting from zero, but it actually is starting from this really deep and profound and well-curated block of information. That to me is kind of the excitement that AI promises in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely. And for those just joining the business and for those that are seasoned advisors, right? It's certainly going to, from our perspective, it really looks like it's going to enhance both the wealth management experience for the financial advisor and their practice, and for the end customer, the investor, as they're trying to achieve their goals. Thanks for joining us today. And thanks everyone for coming and listening to our conversation today about the future of AI. If you'd like to learn more about Advisor 360 and the exciting things that we're working on, please visit us at advisor360.com. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.